As Fargo Season 5 heads toward its explosive ending, Episode 8, Blanket, has delivered a bunch of big reveals, from Scotty's real father to Olmstead's answer to Lorraine to the fate of Danish Graves. Last week's episode, Episode 7, Linda, ended on the bombshell twist of Dot being hospitalized and Sheriff Tillman arriving to collect her. Blanket follows on from that shocking cliffhanger as Tillman brings Dot back to his ranch to face a cruel and unusual punishment for leaving him. The episode is directed by Sylvain White, who also helmed Linda, from a script co-written by series creator Noah Hawley in collaboration with Thomas Bazooka. Tillman faces a major setback in his campaign to be re-elected as the constitutional sheriff of Stark County, which leads to bloody consequences. Whitfar returns to the ensemble after being absent for a couple of episodes, just in time to see Dot in the clutches of her abusive ex-husband. All the drama surrounding Olmstead's strained marriage to man-child Lars comes to a head with a surprising turn that makes her decision to leave a lot easier. With just 2 Fargo episodes left to go, Blanket has set the stage for a thrilling conclusion to this season. Following on from last week's shocking cliffhanger, Fargo Season 5, Episode 8 opens with Sheriff Tillman catching up with Dot at the hospital. When he signs her out at the front desk, he forces her to sign her name as Nadine Tillman. Dot makes a last-ditch attempt to escape Roy's clutches as she writes down, "Help me," on the dotted line for the patient's name. This is a smart move, but it doesn't work, because Roy knows the receptionist, so she simply gets him another form for Dot to fill out properly, just as Tillman is leaving the hospital with Dot. Whitfar, the state trooper who's been involved in this caper from the beginning, happens to arrive at the hospital with a drunken man in need of medical attention. Whit recognizes Dot and immediately knows something is fishy. Dot tells Whit everything is fine, but her eyes tell a different story. Gator intimidates Whit into letting them leave, but he doesn't give up that easily. He promptly calls Olmstead to fill her in on the situation. When Roy gets Dot back to his ranch, he chains her up in a barn, which he insists is just a temporary measure until he can trust her not to run away again. During this confrontation, Dot confirms that Scotty is Wayne's daughter. Tillman tells Dot that leaving him was a mistake and says that everything that happened after she left him was also a mistake. Dot snaps back. "My daughter was not a mistake," confirming that she had her daughter after she left Tillman. So Wayne is Scotty's father. Scotty's age supported a theory that Tillman was her real father, but that theory is disproven in Blanket. When Deputy Olmstead goes home in the middle of the day to get changed, she catches her husband Lars in bed with another woman. Lars has been driving Olmstead up the wall throughout the whole season. He doesn't have a job or do any housework, so she has to support him entirely. He keeps holding on to the pipe dream of becoming a professional golfer, sinking the couple further into debt with his thoughtless purchases of golfing equipment. And he left young Scotty home alone for hours. Olmstead has been slowly turning on her man-child husband throughout this season, and when she catches him having an affair, she finally leaves him. In the opening scene of Fargo Season 5, Episode 8, Danish Graves takes Marlon Everett, John Sasquatch, and another one of Lorraine's debtors to all legally change their names to Roy Tillman. When the real Roy Tillman shows up to a debate, he finds that 3 of the other candidates at the podium are all called Roy Tillman, are dressed exactly like him, and have been told to mockingly repeat whatever he says. This makes Tillman furious. He storms out of the room and punches a woman in his anger, which will surely have a negative impact on his campaign. When Gator stops by the barn to check on Dot, she tells him that she visited his mother Linda. Dot tells Gator that Linda wants to see him, and that his loyalty towards his dad is misplaced. In an attempt to sway Gator's loyalty away from his father, Dot tells Gator that he named him Gator and not Roy because when he was born, Roy thought his son seemed like a slimy, useless lizard. Gator refuses to listen to this, and refuses to believe what Dot says about Linda, but he's clearly conflicted. Convinced that Dot has been kidnapped, Whit pays a visit to the Tillmans' ranch, where he's once again confronted by Gator. Gator shoots at Whit's car and tells him the next one's going in his head, which forces Whit to get back in his car and leave. But before he goes, Whit cryptically tells Gator that he will soon face consequences. As he leaves town, Whit spots Graves at a gas station and tells him about the kidnapping, leading Graves back to the Tillmans' ranch.